Hi my friends, and welcome to my channel, System Admin Toolkit. And I'm pretty happy as usual to share my experiences as a system administrator that I've garnered over the years. Today I'll be continuing in my series of videos looking at essential system admin network administrator toolkit, or tools that you can use to enhance your efficiency. And one of the things that I mentioned in my previous video that you can actually go and check out, and very importantly to subscribe to my channel so that you can always be up to date or informed of my new releases each time. Alright, so with that said, it's very critical, very important that you have a wealth of knowledge about a lot, right, in order to actually provide that level of efficiency, that level of value to your organization as best as possible. I mean, when the need arises, right? So one of your key skill as a network or sysadmin is to find solutions to problems. So getting as much knowledge about as many application tools, resources, how things work in order to solve problems is always critical. And this is something that you get from experience by watching videos like these and others, doing your research, reading, right? Very important. And as I said in my previous video, that you always want to test these applications within a controlled environment, right? Test them on your own laptop, PCs, just to see how things work before you actually deploying these applications within your production environment. Alright, so with that said, I have a number of what I would call the hard tools versus the soft tools. Right, so these are my soft tools here, and these are the more critical tools that you will use. Alright, so a very cool tool that I think that you will find handy is what is called Treesize. Right, Treesize is pretty much a NTFS file space viewer that helps visualize space usage in a Windows Explorer like manner on your system, right? But it does a pretty good job at helping you assess what drives or what applications, folders might be utilizing space usage on your server and your endpoint computers, devices, whatever the case is. And as usual, space is always, storage is always something that you have to monitor very carefully and to use as efficiently as possible within your organization. Alright, let me quickly jump to tree view. And when you start Treesize, it normally looks like this, right? And guys, I'll be putting links to getting further details about these applications, as well as downloading these applications. So just look in my description below and you'll be able to get further details. You'll be able to download these applications and test them accordingly. So normally when you load Treesize, it will look like this. So you might be wondering what is happening. But in order, as it is stated here in this display writing, to analyze your disk space usage, choose a drive or path from the scan menu. Right? So simply go here. You could select it here, or you could go from here, right? Scan, select directory, and I could say I want to scan my C drive, my external drive. If you have network share drives, things like those, whichever the case is. Alright, so I wanted to scan my disk drive, So immediately it shows you that 100%, right? It shows you the size of the file and how the drive is allocated in terms of percentage, alright? What is actually using most of my drive space, right? And from there you can drill down, right? You can go further into your application to see what is happening here, right? And you can further expand into various levels, right? You can do a further drill down until you actually find out what it is that is actually utilizing most of this space on your drive, and then you could do further investigation in terms of removing those unwanted applications that exist, right? So I think this is a pretty cool tool. You can also print reports if you need to maybe produce a report to say what is happening on your servers, what is utilizing the space, that you could then present to your maybe your supervisor, manager, to say, hey, these are the things that we need to get rid of or to relocate on a different drive device, things like those, right? Quickly off the bat you get all of that information in one get-go. Alright, so that is Treesize, right? And another critical application that you need to have is what you call Recuva. And Recuva is a very powerful data recovery software application, right? And the great thing is that most of these tools that I use are actually free or open source tools, right? Free or open source applications that you can use. Right, so Recuva does a pretty good job at this. Has been helpful to me in a number of situations in the past, right? Files have been deleted, and as we all know as system administrators, when you delete a file, it is not deleted from the drive. What happens is that the pointer to the file is actually destroyed, so the file system becomes unrecognizable, right? But for forensic purposes, then data can be recovered from a hard drive if you don't have the right tools to actually wipe that hard drive as it should be, right? So Recuva, and let me just quickly give a look of what Recuva looks like, right? So so this is Recuva once it starts, right? And from here you're able to scan your entire hard drive or whichever drives that you have, right? Perform a scan, right? You could also scan files, scan content, and it will do a deep dive and to find the files that were deleted from your system, right? You could also attach external hard drives from a different PC and restore the file associated, the file formats associated with those files, and then actually recover or retrieve those files as required, right? So this is a very powerful tool that a system administrator should have at their disposal when the need arises, which will happen from time to time. Alright, so that is Recuva. Right, another tool is Clonezilla, and as the name suggests, right, it's an application similar to maybe those who are familiar with Norton Ghost, right? It's a very powerful tool that allows you to create a server that can be used to deploy an ISO image or a replica of your server, a replica of your endpoint, right? A scenario is, for example, you need to deploy X amount of end user laptops or desktop, right? What normally happens is that I would configure one PC with all the necessary applications that are required within the organization. Once that is done, then you use Clonezilla or Norton Ghost to create an image of that application. Once that image is created, then you deploy this, pushing all of these content from one server onto all the endpoint devices that you need to be deployed in the organization. So instead of manually having to go and configure all of these devices, then you can just create one image, and then push this to multiple computers. Right? So there's a link, there's a description in my, there's a additional information in my description that shows you step by step how you go about doing this. Right? So one of the things about being an admin is that you do thorough research, experiment, read, and to see how things work. Right? So KeePass, one of the things is that as a system administrator, you will have to keep track of a number of passwords for various devices in your network, and this at times can be very overwhelming. Right? I find it at times to be challenging to remember password for servers, password for service account, password for printers, routers, switches, you name it. Right? And very important is that you keep these passwords very secure. Right? So KeePass does a great job at keeping your passwords very secure. Right? It is also keeps your password encrypted. Right? And it also generates passwords on your behalf. Right? So guessing these passwords will be very difficult in terms of actually decrypting or running any form of attacks against these credentials. Right? So it's a very powerful application that you can use. Right? You can simply, for example, create a password here. Right? Let me just say you want to add an entry. You simply put in Untitled, say test, or whichever the case is, test 1, 2, 3. Right? Title, and you could put in some name there, and it automatically creates this password for you. Right? And you can put a description as to what the password is. So you can say router in sales department, for example. Right? And it automatically creates a password there. Right? And then you can automatically say copy password, and you can paste that into the application that you want to see use this password on. So each time when you need your password, then you would have this database on a secure computer that you can always go to fetch the password as required. Right? And this application can be also used, it has a portable version that you can have. Right? And the good thing, if this file is found, then it is an encrypted file, so decrypting it would be very challenging as well. Right? So you will get the credentials from it. So that's very important to have. Right? So moving on to the next application is what is known as a Process Explorer. Very powerful application, especially when you're doing deep dive into investigation as to what processes are running on your computer. It is far more advanced than just using a regular Windows system monitor. Right? And let me just quickly jump to Process Explorer. Right? It gives a deep breakdown of all the processes that are running on your PC, running on your server, whichever endpoint device it is. Right? And it has some cool features, and as I said before, you can do further research on all of the functionalities to give you a breakdown of all these functionalities in this video. It would take a long time to really give all that details, so you can actually do further research. So for example, the cool thing is that once you get inside here, you can right click on a process, for example. Right? Immediately, if you see a process that you're not familiar with, you can simply go here and you right click on that process and immediately search online. It's a very cool feature that I like using Process Explorer. Search online. What is this all about? Immediately it tells you what it is. This is Google Chrome. Right? So you do not have to guess to find out what is this application. Right? And immediately one of the things you can do is actually add columns. Right? So you could simply go to, let me see, properties. No, not properties, sorry. There is let me see. Oh, select columns, right? So for a cool feature is that you could add description, right? Image path, you could look at version, you could verified signer, right? You could also look at virus tool, right? Integrity level, right? Windows status, Windows title, right? Command line. So you had the columns according to what it is that you're investigating, what it is that you're looking for, right? You have processed this, you could have add a number of other things here, right? Once you press OK, then you notice immediately you're able to see the path where these applications are running from and to carry out further investigation, right? When you look at version, right, one of the things is that if you see a file on your machine and there's no version on that file, then normally that's a suspicious file. Files normally come out with versions to say what that file is all about, right? One of the cool things about virus, right? This is called a virus tool that actually sends a request to the internet to do a check against this application to see whether or not it has been identified as a virus, right? So versions 76 scan. Let me look at this one in red, right? So level engines actually detected this file, right? So immediately, right, this file that I have here on this machine is seen as being malicious. It is seen as the behavior of this file, right? Right, so this is a file that immediately has been recognized by these various antivirus agencies, right? Panda, and the name goes on as being some virus related applications, right? So this is very important, very critical in terms of doing investigation as to what is happening on your PC, right? So that's a very cool tool to have and to explore, right? And not to mention your backup applications, right? So there are a number of pretty good backup application that you can use. You have very expensive enterprise applications as well, right? But these are that I've used and that have worked pretty well in the past, and as well as the native backups that come with Windows and the other operating systems, right? So these are applications that you can test. Veeam backup on application, I mean Altera physical server backup, right? I'm not, one of the things to mention is that I'm not an affiliate of any of these applications. I use them, they become very handy, so I think I wanted to just um, share this tool with you. Alright, so amidst those advanced tools, then it's also good as a system admin to be aware of soft tools. I call them soft tools, right? One of these tools, Microsoft Office, right? This is called the Office app, right? And it's pretty much puts everything in one location. So instead of actually having to search for Word, Excel, whichever the applications are, you simply go download this application on your desktop. You can put it on your end user's PC, and it will actually put everything in one get-go, one location, right? So they can access their emails, Outlook, OneDrive, OneNote, whichever the applications are, they can easily get to those without having to search their PCs to find these applications, right? Very nice application to have running, right? Notepad plus plus, right? Many of us are familiar with the regular Windows Notepad, but this comes with additional features, right? A lot of developers use this to write scripts or programs, pretty much anything that you can do with Notepad, you can do in Notepad plus plus even much better. Alright, so Notepad plus plus, Right, so one of the cool things about this, you can actually add various preferences. You can even create hashes for file generate. For example, you could just type in something and it automatically generates an hash for that file. Right, simple. Right, you could create macros inside, language encoding, various type of encoding, viewing, search, find and research. One of the powerful things about this is that you can open very large text files quickly, unlike Notepad that will take a long time and it will even crash at times when you try to open very large files. Right, so no matter how large a file is, Notepad pad plus plus handles that file very efficiently. Right, and the last tool on my list now is a very handy tool that I believe that as a system admin, then this should be one of your tools in your tool kit. Let me just go to that file quickly. Alright, so here we have Sharex, and Sharex is more than just a screen capture device. There are no more things that you can do with Sharex, right? You can capture a full screen, a window, just a region of the screen. You can record the screen recording, right? You can immediately upload. Once you go here, you can upload to drag and drop to a URL, upload to a folder. You can create workflows, right? One of the cool features about this is that you can also even create a QR code for any file, any image that you want, right? So within an organization, if you needed to just generate some QR codes for maybe a banner on your website, things that you need to publish, files in your organization, a process can scan and get additional information about your company. You can easily create a picture, create a snapshot, and you go in and you can create a QR code, right, immediately from anything that you want. Right, you can even decode from screen, right? You can just click on decode and you can make up a QR code, right? Encode, put in a link to a site, right? So immediately generate the QR code and then you can put in the name of your website where you want that code to reflect, right? So that's one of the cool features there. Capture after task, destination, upload task, and the list goes on. So it's a cool tool that you can also add to your toolkit. So guys, I hope that you found this very interesting, and most of all I hope that these tools can be used to your advantage within your organization and for your own professional development, right? So that's the end of part 2. Please subscribe, share your comments, likes, dislikes. Guys, without your comments, then I'm not able to provide the best videos for you. So give me your comments so that I can, whatever it is that you want me to put out on your behalf, then please provide those comments. Alright, so see you in my next videos.